Fearing, longing, out from the depths of my heart, searing, falling, tear my emotions apart. In a glass globe, a story unknown, will the shaking and trembling go on? Show the bright snow as part of this world. No one sees, no one knows us inside. Shifting, falling, all of the people are gone. Searching, looking, as if there were
Welcome to the stream today. So last Saturday what we have seen is we put a pause on IoT Edge solution a little bit. So we came close to that IoT Edge solutions. We try to create a custom modules and we module into that our IoT Edge solution. So we are pretty much close to that. The only thing I need to complete there is like how the deployment works on the IoT Edge module. And then I need to start a application for my daughter to detect like what fruit she is eating and create a dashboard application in cloud so that like I can track how many fruits she would eat in like in a week, how many different types of fruit, including like how many apples she had, how many oranges she had. So those kind of tracking I'm trying to build. So that's status on the IoT Edge solution. In the meanwhile, I am trying to prepare a brand new demo. I already created a demo for Flutter Talk, but I am trying to create another brand new demo on the Flutter application so that I can show that new demo in Orlando Code Camp talk I am going to do on this month end. So March 30th, I'm going to talk in Orlando Code Camp about Flutter and Firebase. So that's why like I'm preparing this new demo for that talk. So Saturday we have started this one a little bit. So we have started on the application called Developer Emotion Tracker. So that's going to track the emotion of developer. So the developer has to do is like whenever they are feeling some emotion, right? For example, they are very happy about because of the productivity on the day, or they feel like demotivated because of some certain situations that happened and making like that developer feel down. So this application is going to be like a journal of that emotion. So whenever that emotion thing happens, developer has to select a emotion, for example either angry, sad, or happy, excited, anxiety. So there are like a set of emotions using the emojis. So the developers has to choose that one. Then the second page, what we are going to do is we are going to list like a common developer activities. So the idea is like how developers are feeling right now and what causes their feeling, right? So for example, I'm feeling very excited. The reason is I did like good amount of progress in my work. Or I feel like angry, someone like tried to demotivate me, so something like that. So we are trying to figure out like the correlation of emotions and also like what causes that emotion. So these two things we are going to capture that, and in the list page we are going to show like at what time, what emotion, and what causes that emotion. So this is like the overall idea. I'm trying to build this application for the demo. So this application is going to integrate it with the Firebase backend. So I can demo like both Flutter and Firebase. So this is what I'm going to talk in Orlando Code Camp. What is Flutter and how Flutter integrates with the Firebase backend, or how Firebase is like empowers that the front-end UI like a mobile managed backend services, including authentication, storage, and remote config. There are like multiple features available in the Firebase, but I'm going to show only like storage and how that going to sync with like a real-time synchronization. And the other thing I'm going to show is how we can do like CI/CD for this Flutter application. So initially I did like the same talk in a Tampa Code Camp. So at the time I used a fast lane, but right now like there is a new product called codemagic.io. So they are having like a CI/CD specific for Flutter application itself. So I'm going to explore that as well. So for like couple of days, including next Saturday is not this week Saturday, next week Saturday is the talk. So I'm planning to complete this demo on this Wednesday or Thursday. So today, Wednesday and Thursday, probably we are going to look at this Flutter application. I have already slides, everything worked on. So only thing is like I'm trying to build a brand new demo. Even if this is not working out, I have like my old demo as a backup. So this one I'm trying to new so that like I can catch up the new things that came on the Flutter recently. So these are the things we worked on. Let me launch the emulator. So the Flutter I'm developing using VS Code, Visual Studio Code, and Visual Studio Code has like a Flutter plugin. So you can use that Flutter plugin to debug or choose the emulate option. And there are like a more option in this Flutter, like getting packages, Flutter upgrade. So those are the things you can attach with this VS Code plugin itself. So now I'm launching the emulator. I'm mainly targeting to develop on the iOS device, but once the iOS device is developed, then you can deploy that in like both iOS and Android. But for right now, like just for designing and developing perspective, I'm using this iPhone simulator. So if anyone watching, how is your day going on? My Monday is great. So I had like a good productive day today, and once I complete this demo, then probably we can pick up like where we have left on the IoT Edge solutions. I thought of like doing it in the free time, but it's better to do it in like the stream, so that a couple of things, right? One, if I am getting down or if I am stuck with anything, then you are here to help. Second thing, it helps me to focus, because like okay, everyone is watching what I am coding, right? So it helped me to focus and complete that pretty quick, compared to like I'm working on alone, right? Okay, so I launched the emulator. To run the application, I can go to the debug and click this Flutter run. So in Saturday, what we have done is we try to find out the emoticons or the images for emotions. So I downloaded from a package which is called freepik.com, I think. So here I have a different emotion like angry, bored. In bored itself, like they're having two different types, but we can choose like one image for every emotions, including confused, crying. Some emotions are like not developer specific or something like that. Anyhow, like I have added this one, like the common emotions packages. Then we can fine tune these images with like a development emotion or developer emotions, right? So we will be doing that. I close this. Okay. So you can see in the right hand side. One second, I will change my OBS scene settings so that you can see. So here, this is the so you can see this text. This text is coming from that the default generated code of the Flutter. But what we are doing right now is on clicking this floating action button. So once I clicked, you can see like this is having a list of emotions, right? Including I have added like a create, take picture, so that like the developer can take picture and see like take the selfie of them and see like okay, I'm like feeling very happy, then I'm giving happy face. If I'm feeling like frowny or like bored, then I'm giving like surprised face or confused face. Then we are going to use Firebase machine learning kit so that it can identify the emotion of the face, and it's taking the emotion from that face, right? So that's the idea here. And I have added like a list view or the grid view, and the grid view contains the row of images, and also it's having that text beneath. So this is what I have done so far. You can see like it having nice nice animation here, including like the floating action. It's going smoothly to that right. So now what we are going to do is, once the user click this emotion, right now I'm showing the alert so that like I can see what emotion they have selected. But what we are going to do is, once they have clicked, we are going to mark that emotion is selected. For example, I have added the chip text view, not the chip text view, it's like a chip view. So this chip view, we can add the icon. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to pretty much add the same chip view to all the emotions, and once user click that emotion, then the chip view is going to turn either like a green color, or we are going to show some selected icon there. So once the emotion is selected, then user clicking like next button, I didn't develop that yet. So in the next page, what we are going to do is we are getting like which activity that triggers that emotion. For example, I have like a lot of bugs to fix, right? Lot of defects to fix, or my deadline is missing. Then at the time like I'm angry mood, or sometime like I'm very relaxed. I have a productive day or week. I have done like more than expected. Then I'm in the happy mood, something like that. Or I did like some great things. I'm in the nerd mode or the ninja mode. So these are the thing, or like smart mode. So these are the different emotions developer can choose. And the next page we are going to collect like what are the activities developer emotion was associated with. Okay, so now we will complete this one first. So I have this library file main.dot. So this everything I'm going to develop in the dot. So if anyone like not aware of like what dot language is it's a Google specific dot language that is used for Flutter mobile application, and it's also used for like web server applications and all. It's pretty close to JavaScript and also Java. It's a unique language for that. I would say like it's pretty much close to Java and JavaScript. So this language is a dot language here. So this main page, I didn't put anything here, but a list of emotions or on that particular day how they are feeling, that's going to come here. So in main page we are having like a material application, title is dev emotion tracker, and the home page is here. In the home page we didn't have anything, and we are mentioning like the floating action button. When I'm clicking that, it's going to call add emotion, and that add emotion is building a emotion dialog and pushing that into that route. So that's what's happening here. So if I'm clicking this button, it's going to show some model page, and that model page is add emotion dialog. So here we are scaffolding the application app bar, and title is add emotion. And in the body child we mentioned like a grid view, and the cross axis count is 3, so it's going to have like column 3. And in the children we are building the emotion images. In the build emotion images we are constructing a widget including a flat button of these images, and iterating through list of emotions and adding like more widget here. So on pressed emotion selected, and on emotion selected we are just showing the dialog so that like we can identify like what emotion we have chosen here. So this what we are working on here, right? So the next thing what we are going to do is we need to implement this chip view on all the images, so that like I can show the icon, like selected icon on the chip view of that emotion. So let me go. I already have this chip view here, so I just like change that one. Take picture. And one other thing you see, like this is doing like a hot reload, so it would be immediately reload into that immediately reload, like you don't need to stop and run back. It's like a hot reload. So I just changed that to camera, and this one I changed to gallery. And in the emotion thing I am changing that to chip of emotion. So dollar emotion is like interpolated string. I have this emotion variable here. Okay, so the chip is came. Now what we need to do is we need to mark like a selected icon there. In the chip there is a property called icon. Oh, they have the delete icon. Chip padding. What are the other avatar is there? What is that avatar? Clip behavior, delete button, tooltip, delete icon, elevation, key, label padding, material on delete. I think it's avatar. What type of avatar is another widget, right? Then I can provide like icon, icons dot selected or what are the different icons here? What are the different icon here so that I can add like some image? Okay, let me put something like this to see like how that works. Yeah, it's added like this. Okay, cool. I want something like check. Okay, so the idea is once they are once they are selected some emotion, it's going to change like this checked image here, right? So in that case, let me go back to, okay, in that case so this one is directly going to create like another page. Like camera, it's going to trigger like the camera. Gallery, it's going to pick up from the gallery. The only thing is on like the emotions. So the first thing I'm going to do is the background color, I put like a light gray or light green accent. Oh, that's too light green. Or I want like some gray. What about the blue gray? Yeah, something like this. Then when it's selected, then probably it would be changed to green color, right? And icons dot check or icons dot check. So here what I am going to do is I'm going to implement okay, so on click on emotion selected, then the emotion would be added here. So instead of show dialog, we are going to add that in the state. Then on state changes, it's going to trigger like the page again. So let's read like quickly the documentation on Flutter state management. I remember already, but like maybe something changed here. So here is the state management. So here is a good example here. So on tab handler, they are getting the cart model and add the item, and whenever the cart model changes, then they are going to build the UI here. So so they have that checkout example here also. So they have this my cart list, right? Okay, so here they are having this cart dot items. I didn't get. Yeah, this is how we are going to implement it. Okay, so int index of 0, then the bottom navigation bar, they are setting up the state here. So similarly we need to do here as well. We already creating the state that's called add emotion dialog state. Okay, so they have this add emotion dialog state, then they have this index of 0, and on tab they are setting up the new index, and the bottom navigation bar that's contained like the current index here. Okay, so in our case what we are going to do is we are going to have a property here, list of string that contains selected emotions. String, yeah. So selected emotions, so this is the property, right? The next thing we are going to do is whenever they are selecting the emotion, then we are going to add the selected emotion here, and once this is added, then the next thing we are going to do is here, if selected emotions contains emotion, then it's icon soft check, or otherwise it's going to be null, right? Similar way, if selected emotion contains emotion, then the background. Okay, I will just wrap that up here. Avatar label style. So here, like if selected emotion contains emotion, then colors is going to be green, otherwise it's going to be colors of bluish gray or something like that. Okay, now it should be reload in our application here. Anyhow, like since we have changed this state, it's better to do hot restart instead of the hot reload. So hot reload is like you are not restarting your application, just your pages in whatever state or whatever the page, it's going to refresh in that page alone. Hot restart, it's like you are completely restarting the application, but that also pretty quick compared to like other platforms. So here I'm selecting this and everything is in blue gray color, that's fine. So whenever I'm clicking this icon, it's not working. Okay, I need to set the state here. So whenever I'm calling this set state, it's going to call that the tree whenever there are settings. So now it's working. So if I'm clicking this, you can see like the emotions are selected here. So I can choose like multiple emotions. Oh, the one another thing I need to, if I am re-clicking this, I need to remove that emotion. So here what I am doing is if selected emotions contains emotion, so if it is already there, then I am removing. Remove emotion. Otherwise I'm adding that emotion list. Okay, it should be reloaded. So if I am okay, so if I am clicking again, it's like unchecking. Okay. Okay, great. Yeah, that's cool. So let's say like I'm happy here. The happy is selected. Then once it's selected, they need to select like a next page, and on that page we need to develop that page. Okay, so let's do that stuff. Okay, in the meanwhile, like I have a urgent work, so let me take like a quick break. I'm back, guys. Um, so the next thing what we need to do is we need to add like a second page that contains the list of common developer activities. And I may not be including like any icon because it's a little bit tough to find icon for every developer activities. Probably like we would be adding this one later. So the one thing I need to do is let me create a new page, and here it says not coding activities or dev activities dot dot. So we are going to create a new page that's pretty much the same thing here, like how we are creating a dialog here. So instead of add emotion dialog, it's going to dev activities stateful widget, and the state it's going to be dev activities state, and the state it should be state of dev activities. So we have activities, so that state is constructed, and here in the state we need the build that contains the widget. Okay, so we have this page created, right? Here we need to return that, and probably it's a scaffold, and app bar contains app bar contains the text here. What's the app bar type? Preferred size widget, right? The add emotion app bar is like this. Okay, so in the dev activities dot, the app bar is going to be the app bar title of developer activities, something like this. So the next thing what we need to do is we need to construct the body. Right now I'm going to construct that as a center and child that contains the paused emotion, right? So let's have as it is, and when I am going back to this add emotion page, there is a floating action, right? So on pressed of this floating action, let me bring down this. So on pressed of this floating action, we need to make sure this floating action is navigating to the developer activities page, and also it should pass the parameter, the selected emotion parameters to that to the next page, that is developer activities page, right? So for that point I'm going to get the navigator of context, then push new, or you can skip the new, anything would be right. So the material page route, and the builder, this is pretty much same thing like here. So I'm going to better copy this one. So the builder context, here we need to set up the context here. So instead of the add emotion dialog, it's going to be dev activities yeah. so we need to import this library. So we are passing this dev activities here. It's necessarily not to be the full screen dialog because we already in the full screen dialog here. So if I am pressing this, it's going to the developer activities. I can like go back as well. Right. So this is good. Now the next thing is we need to pass selected emotions to the next activity. So for that one, let me quickly go through the documentation. Flutter navigation parameters. I think we can pass that via via the constructor, but let's see. So here on push detail screen, yeah, they are passing through the constructor. So similar way in the dev activities, we didn't have anything there, so we need to pass like a constructor here. So let's do that stuff. Yeah, something like that they need to. Okay, so first thing in the dev activities, we need to do the constructor. Oh, they don't have the constructor value here. So it should be dev activities of key. I'm just copying this thing, and that required emotion or emotions to get the list of emotion. So that would be so required this okay, so emotions, and here they are getting the final list of string that is emotions here. What it is saying, the final variable emotions must be initialized. Yeah, that's what. Okay, this dot emotions here, sorry. And super key of key. Okay, so what we are doing is we build the constructor here, the dev activities, and we have this final list of string emotions, and we are passing that emotions here. So in add emotion dot, so in the dev activities here, we need to pass the selected emotions, right? So we already have the selected emotions added here. So whenever we are selecting the emotion like this, you can see it's changing that the gray chip into the green chip, like the selected images. So whenever I am clicking that, if it is already selected, it's removing from the selected emotions. If it is not there, then it's adding to the selected emotions, right? So now what we need to do is we need to pass that selected emotions into the dev activities, so that once user click this button, they are going to the next page to choose the developer activities that's caused this particular emotion, right? So the dev activities contain emotions, that's selected emotions. Okay, so now in the dev activities here, there is error coming in. Okay, so now we need to display the selected emotions probably. So if I am clicking right now the developer activities, I'm just showing the text emotion, but we need to make sure we are getting that this dot emotions there. So what we can do, probably we need to do another constructor here, but let me quickly go to the documentation. So detail screen extends stateless widget, but we have like a stateful widget because we are managing everything through the state. Hmm. Okay, so here what we can do is we construct like another constructor, dev activity state, and final list of string or list of string that is selected emotions. Okay, so here we are getting this selected emotions, and I probably do the similar thing there. At required this dot selected emotions and final list of string that is selected emotions. Does that make sense? Or I might be wrong here. Okay, used to annotate a named parameter p in a method or function f. Indicates every invocation of f must include an argument. This doesn't have the key, so the one thing I can do is I can straight away pass that the parameter rate. Okay, so let's see here. I need like a state also. So Flutter navigation parameter. What's that thing? Stateful widget. Yeah, Flutter navigation parameter stateful widget. Okay, so the record page finally, yeah, this is what we have done, and they're passing the record page here. Yeah, the similar thing like how we are doing, right? Okay, let me go back to our code. So we don't need this required this dot selected emotions and list of string selected emotions. So if you pass selected emotions here, for example here this dot emotions, so if you pass the emotions here, then okay, so let's go back to the adder to the next page, right? So we are basically passing the parameters to the next page. Hey, hi viable clan member, thanks for coming and watching, I really appreciate that, and thanks for saying hi. I'm working on one of my talk, so I'm going to talk in this month and Orlando Code Camp. So I'm going to talk about Flutter and Firebase. So I'm trying to build a brand new demo. I already have a demo, but I'm trying to build a brand new demo to catch up like a new things that happened in the Flutter. So I come up with like this idea to track like a developer emotion. So this application going to have like a couple of screens. One of the screen is they need to pick up like what's their current emotion is. On the next screen, they are going to pick up like what type of activity that triggers that emotion, right? So that's what I'm building right now. So I already built this add emotion screen. The next thing I'm trying to do is passing this parameters to the developer activities. So here they can pick up like one of the developer activities that trigger that emotion. That's what I'm trying to build. So if you have any questions or like concerns, then you can like chat and we can pick that up. Okay, so now what we did is we have this developer activities page, right? That's a dot file here. So that's a stateful widget. So what we are doing is in add emotion dot dot, whenever they are pressing this float action button with the chevron, right? So here, if I'm pressing this, it's getting the navigator and it's building this dev activity screen and pass the selected emotions as a emotions parameter. So they are passing that to the dev activities, and in the dev activities page, we just try to pass that state emotions here. Now we will see like whether we can display that selected emotions. Probably this is the array, right? So string array.join or string.join. I'm from C# background, so I'm a little bit okay. So dot join array in C# like I can put like string.array. Okay, so dot also having array, right? But that join method is like a little bit different. That join looks like, okay, so here is the join method. Okay, the string has join, convert each element to a string and concatenates the strings. So how to use this one? Directly a join like that? Okay, let me try. So this dot selected emotions dot join and pausing the separator. Now back in the emulator, you are seeing like here the selected emotion is comma separated value, happy and embarrassed. I cannot feel like happy and embarrassed at the same time, right? So let me choose like happy and probably ninja. So it's displaying like happy and ninja, the selected emotion here. So that's what we are building right now. The next thing what we need to do is in this developer activities page, we need to provide like some list or selectable options so that the user can select one of the developer activities, right? So how we can, so what are the common developer activities which that trigger like emotions, right? For example, like bug fixing, meeting, developing or speaking, preparing like a presentation, or like a one-on-one meeting with manager, something like that, right? So these are the different common activities that trigger like the developer emotions. So what are the things we can do? Not this one. Okay, let me add like a couple of simple thing. So it's going to be the another list of string or probably a class. So let me add like a model here, models, and a class called activity. So class activity here, and in the activity there are like two things. One is the name, right? I'm mixing dot with the TypeScript. So how to something like this. So the final string and activity has the title, and the next thing is activity should have activity should have the positivity percentage, right? For example, okay, the emotion only will have like positivity percentage. For example, happy 100% positivity, angry, sad, like some percentage of negativity, right? So the emotion should have that the probability percentage of like positive emotion or negative emotion. For the activity, I think only title is enough, or some category, right? For example, developer category, or managerial stuff, or some other category like QA category or something like that. Okay, so let's have this one. So activity constructor that has a title and also category. So we have this title category. So we have this class, right? Activity class. The next thing what we are going to do is in the dev activities dot we need to one second. Okay, so in the, let me open this simulator. So the next thing what we are going to do is we are going to build a activities, common activities. For example, list of activities like developer activities, right? Is called is a new list of, or list dot from title here, or list dot from of so here activity of title is what's the title? Let me call like a coding, and categories development, or I can add like another enum here, category development, and here the category enum and this dot category. If nothing specified, then probably development category, right? So it can't be set to the new value. Okay, so let me pass that the category development there itself. So activity, this dot title, this dot category. So in the developer activities dot file, let's say category dot development. Similarly, I can add like more developer activities. For example, in meeting category dot development. What are the other activities there? Coding meeting, defects, presentation, one-on-one, pull request, reviews probably, or peer reviews. What are the other thing we can there is or like meetup, then playtime, scrum time, coffee, something like that. So running or playtime, this probably would be in the health category or something like that. Health, overall health category, right? Health, exercise. Then what are the other stuff? Travel, vacation. So I try to add like as much as possible I can add. So these are the common developer activities. So what we are going to do is we are going to bind the emotion and pick up the activities that causes that emotion, right? So this list probably would be changed later after I read like some more things or getting opinions from you guys. Probably you can give the input like what are the different activities I can choose that affect developer mental health and that causes into that one of the emotions here. For example, happy, angry, bored, or confused, something like that, right? So you can give like a example here so that I can add that into the developer activities. Now what we need to do is, so we have this page, right? Now the next thing, we need to display the developer activities in this page. So for that, what I'm thinking is like let's build a wrap page that contain the children, and this children should be coming probably like a build activities list or something like that. Here I'm pausing developer activities. So this build activities list, it's going to return a list of widget and a list of activity that contain developer activities. Okay, so here what we are going to do is, yeah, it throw error because it's written like null, right? So here what we are going to do is probably we would add like a chip view that contain what's a chip view label or delete label here. So label that contains text and some activity text here. Yeah, something like this. You can see that thing, right? So now what we need to do is we need to iterate through or creating a map for list of activities, and that list of activities for each activity we need to return chip of label of f dot title, sorry, text of f title. So we are returning chip here for each map, then we are returning that one. Am I doing correctly? It should be, or probably I can do like some for each loop. Map would be better, right? So it's written a new lazy iterable elements that are created by calling f on each element of this iterable in iteration order. Okay, let me quickly check how that looks in the map here. Flutter list map widget. I don't need the list view builder, right? Yeah, I can do the list view builder also. Okay, let's return type of iterable of set chip is not a list view. So do we need to put like a to list? The list of set of chip is not a list of widget. So what does that mean? Flutter map to list. Mapping a list.map is fine, but how to do like a dot to list, right? Yeah, this is what we have done, but it's complaining about something. What's it's complaining? It says like return type list of set of chip is not a list of. Okay, so list of set is not a list. Flutter dot. Okay, so here they are doing something, but return list return now. This is not what I'm looking for. Or I can build like the full thing. For example, list of widget and chips here. That's a new list of or list. So for each or for in of dev activity of dev activities, then here I am adding chip start, add chip view that contain label, that's a text widget that contain dev activity dot title and return chips here. So this also will work. So now let's look at the emulator. So here you can see each thing it's coming as a chip. So all the activities that's come as a chip here. So in the wrap, let's add like some more spacing. Let's say 20. Okay, padding something like that, or I can put the padding here, padding of padding contains child, so child is a wrap, and padding is edge insets of all like 20. So you should be seeing some padding value there. Okay, so I think this looks good. Now next thing is probably we would be magnifying this chip text a little bit. So the chip has label, and chip has background color, delete icon, label style as well. So here is the label style, and the label style is nothing but the text style, I think. Yeah, text style. So in the text style you can have like a color, background, font family, font size. Let's increase the font size a little bit, let's say 15. Oh, sorry. 25. Yeah, this looks better, but let's say like a 22 or something like that. Yeah, 22 is better. The next thing is font or color is since it's light gray, let's choose black itself. Yeah, this looks good. The next thing is even this one we can group by category, but let's keep it simple, then we can improve that anytime. So my thought process is like we have the list of developer activities, right? So we can group certain activities so that you can just like okay, these are the activities that's from the development, and these are the activities that's like a fun part or playing sports stuff, and these are the activities that contains probably like health stuff. So we can just have like some more list of developer activities here. Okay, so we have this developer activity mentioned here as well. Okay, so now what we need to do is let me see like whether I can. Okay, what's a label padding, edge etc. I'm just looking like to increase the size a little bit still, so that user can touch without any issues, right? So they can do like they can touch and select the container without any issues. Okay, so 10 looks fine, but it's creating some issues. I think the issue is with the wrap here. Okay, so we provided the spacing, we need to provide the run spacing also, so that whenever it's running you can have that the space as well. So the spacing I can change to 10 so that it would be a little bit like this. Now the label padding I just changed to 10. Or 10 is too much, right? 5 looks a little bit tight. I want like edge insets only on the left and right hand side, all others should be fine. So edge insets of only left 10, right 10. Yeah, this looks cool. Okay, so we have built these activities also. That's fine. Let's add the another floating action button. Floating action button on pressed and also child of icons dot chevron. Okay, that also okay. So we have floating action button and we have this selected. The next thing what we need to do is we need to make sure we are adding a button here to select that. I am not sure there is a click button on the chip, right? So for that what we need to do is we wrap this with a flat button. Flat button contains child and they have on pressed as well. Okay, so what's missing there? Chip start add. Okay, here is. Ooh, it's changed. But the problem is all the things got collapsed. I don't know how to fix it. Okay, flat button has anything special? Clip behavior, right? So clip behavior, it's clip dot, I don't know what's this, clip dot hard edge. No. So how to add like the gesture? Okay, let me see that in the. So Flutter chip add click button or add on pressed, right? So how to add chip demo? Here is. So call children semantics. They have the chip here and they have the chip as well. Oh, there is a choice chip. That's interesting. Okay, so they have the choice chip so that it acts as a radio button or something like that. So let me change that to choice chip. So we have the chip and for loop. Something is missing. Chip of add. Okay, so instead of the chip they are using choice chip, and that choice chip contain create a chip that acts like a radio button. Okay, cool. So they have this selected button as well and they have the on selected also. Okay, cool. So here they have the on selected. So now we need to set the state so that like we can build this with the state, right? So here let's add like another property. Going back, this is throwing error because we got that because like still it's not returning that actual error. Okay, so now selected null, instead of that we need to set a true. So for that we add like another property here, list of activity that's contains selected activities, right? So this selected activities, let me construct this as well. So list here. So on chip selected, we are pushing that here, and we push like only if having value. So that value contains so here so this value contain dev activity. Unexpected text if, what's that? On selected value here, it's right only, right? Crazy. So on selected, on, okay, so this is what happening here. So on selected, we need to the bool of value that's coming, then we are calling the if of value, right? Yeah, this is what we are doing. Why it's throwing error? If of something we are missing, bool of value. Okay, I think I missed the class here. So bool of value, if value, why it says unexpected if, I'm totally confusing with like ES6 to dot value. Okay, so the arrow functions will not work in the dot. That's, you need to understand. Since I'm like switching from ES6 TypeScript to the Flutter, I'm like confusing with like syntax. Okay, so on selected bool value, if value presents, then selected activities dot add of dev activity, right? Unselected, if selected activities contains dev activity. On selected, if values there, selected activities dev, otherwise we need to remove. So else, I am removing this one from the selected activity. Okay, so selected. Okay, this is cool, but here since we are changing the state, if it should work, then you need to set that in the set state. So let's call that in the set state, so that whenever the state changes, it refreshes that in the UI. Okay, so this is cool, right? Now let's try that in the simulator. The method contain was called on null. It's not null, right? Okay, let me do the hot restart. Sometimes like whenever you are changing the state, at the time you need the hot restart. Okay, so the dev emotion tracker, clicking this, selecting the emotion, I'm happy. Clicking here, coding. Oh, it has this also. Yeah, this is nice. So clicking, I think okay, here it looks like a difference, right? So clicking this one, it's coding here. That's cool. So the next thing, once we click this, we need to get the emotion here, the happy emotion. So developer can select like multiple emotion here, and clicking next, and they are associating like what activities that trigger that emotion. For example, here coding, then clicking next, it should be saved in on like a particular date and time, right? So this one is for like a specific time, so that's what it's going to display in the main page. So the main page will contain at what time they feel, how they feel, and what activities that causes that feel. So that's going to have that in the list view here. So the user is coming and adding the emotion happy, and probably like a smart smile, something like this. And they are saying like a coding, um, presentation. Then clicking next, it should be adding that in the main page, and that closes the main page. Okay, so this is cool. This is going more than expected. So the next thing what we need to do is we need to integrate this one with the Firebase backend, so that we are saving all this data into that Firebase. So that's like a mobile managed backend services provided by Google Firebase, right? So we integrate that one with the Firebase. So whenever you are making these changes, that would be immediately synced into the Firebase, and we can use Firebase machine learning kit to identify this camera gallery type of images. So those things probably like we will do tomorrow. Tomorrow I will not be streaming. Probably like we will do in Wednesday stream. We will complete the remaining screen and the main list page. And the Thursday screen we will improve and show some of animations here and there. So I think that would be cool stuff. So whoever come and watch, thanks for coming and watching, and I really appreciate that. And Viable clan member, thanks for coming and saying hi. Please come and follow. We will learn mobile development together. So this new Flutter series that will go for like this week, and I'm going to present this developer emotion tracker application in Orlando Code Camp. That's going to happen on March 30th. So till then, thanks guys, thanks for coming, and I really appreciate for coming and saying hi. Thank you very much. Till then, we will see you on Wednesday stream. Thank you.